Hello, Mali. My name is Arith Karunathilake. I'm a senior member of the Wilderness and Wildlife Protection Society. Today, we'll be speaking about penguins alongside with Himsara Ariyawansa and Hiruna Wickramasinghe, who are also senior members of the Wilderness and Wildlife Protection Society. Yeah, Himsara, content table. The content today that we've spoken about is introduction to penguins, habitat and distribution of penguins, the types of penguins all around the world, how penguins reproduce, physical characteristics of penguins, diet and eating habits of penguins, longevity and cause of death, sensors, behavioral patterns of penguins, how to conserve penguins, and adaptations penguins show towards the icy environment. Introduction to penguins. Mali penguins are flightless birds belonging to the family Branchiae. Worldwide, there are 18 species of penguins all around the world, all of which breed in the southern hemisphere. The name is believed to have originated from the Welsh penguin, which means white head. They live almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere. Only one species, the Gulf Coast penguin, is found north of the equator. They are highly adapted for life in the water. Penguins have counter-shaded dark and white plumage and flippers. It helps them to swim faster. Most penguins feed on krill, fish, squid, and other forms of sea life, which they catch while swimming underwater. They spend roughly half of their lives on land and the other half in the sea. The largest living species is the emperor penguin. On average, adults are around 1.1 meter, which roughly is 3 feet and 7 inches tall, and they weigh around 35 kilograms, which is 77 pounds. The smallest penguin species is the little blue penguin, also known as the fairy penguin. It stands around 33 centimeters, which is 13 inches tall, and weighs around 1 kilogram, which is around 2.2 pounds. Penguins belong to the Animalia kingdom. The phylum is Chordata. They belong to the Aves class, and their order is Sphenicidae forms, the family Sphenicidae, and their genus is Appendiditis, and they belong to the Appendiditis fosteri species.
Yeah, so Mali, our second topic is habitat and distribution. So what is habitat? So mainly habitat is the place where plants or animals normally or naturally lives and grows, right? So penguins live primarily in southern hemisphere. So as Arith explained, there are 18 species or types of penguins. So out of these 18 species, 16 species are living in this southern hemisphere. So only 2 species or types are living apart from this. The endangered African penguin and the Galapagos penguin are the 2 types of penguin species which live apart from this southern hemisphere. So they can be found in north of the equator. The tiny blue penguin can be found in Australia and New Zealand. So the tiny blue penguins are the smaller species which can be found in Australia and New Zealand. While the majestic emperor penguin, the largest species of penguins, can be found in Antarctica. And the king penguin can be found in many sub-Antarctic islands. So, Mali, penguins are semi-aquatic animals. So, semi-aquatic means they spend some part of their lives on land or in the terrestrial environment and the other half in the water. So, roughly they spend half of their lives in the land and other half in the sea. Penguins generally live on islands and remote continental regions which are free from land predators. Okay. Penguins are preferred to live in waters which is having abundant of food, places which are free from predators, and enough space for interact and reproduce. So penguins need food for live, right? So they love they prefer to live in places which are they have abundant of food, and they like to live in places where are free from predators. So with both land predators and water predators, and they need enough space for interact and reproduce. So they choose a place which they have abundant of food, and a place which are free from predators, and they need enough space for interact and reproduce. Most penguins are preferred to live on ice, but some are preferred to live in warm environment. So majority of penguins are preferred to live in water, in ice water, but some are preferred to live in warm environment. So they can live in both. Different species live in varying climates. So according to the species or the type, the environment that they needed to live can be changed. For example, the Galapagos penguin live on the tropic islands at the equator, and the emperor penguin live in the waters of Antarctica. So the climatic condition in the tropic islands at the equator and the waters of Antarctica are totally different. So different species need different environmental conditions to live. 80% of penguins live in the ocean. So as I explained earlier, penguins are semi-aquatic animals, so they can live in the water as well as in the terrestrial habitat. So most of the time, 80% of penguins are living in the ocean. Some penguins are migratory, but others migrate due to shortage of food supply, more predators, environmental pollution, and loss of habitat, etc. So normally, some species of penguins are migratory, but others are not. So if there's a special condition such as a shortage of food supply, or more predators, environmental pollution, loss of habitat, or spread of disease, they will migrate. So they need food. If there's a shortage of food, they will migrate. If there are more predators, there is a big risk of living there. So to reduce that risk, they will migrate. And if the environment has polluted, so mainly the water pollution. So water gets polluted due to many reasons, such as leaks in tanks, ships, and dumping garbage, throwing industrial waste, which contains heavy metals such as mercury, cadmium, arsenic. So the water gets polluted. So they can't live in there. So they will migrate. And if they lost their habitat, they lose their habitat mainly due to two reasons: due to human activities, and as well as due to environmental effects. So environmental effects such as global warming, acid rains, they lose their habitat. If the global warming continuously happen, the ice will melt and they lose their habitat. So these are the main 4 points which they reason for they migrate. Okay, Mali, this is a map how penguins are distributed in the world. So you can refer it. But major population of penguins are found in Antarctica, Argentina, Australia, Chile, New Zealand, South Africa, and France. So the major population can be found in these countries. And this is a map how penguins are distributed in the world. And there are many more places where penguins can live. For example, Madagascar also a place. Yeah. Okay. I'll explain the rest of this. These are some penguins who are native to Antarctic region. The emperor penguin, king penguin, and the Marconi penguin. having a haircut, and chin strap penguin are some of penguin species who live native to Antarctic region.
Well, only I'm going to present about types of penguins. Only there are 18 species of penguins in the world, Mali. These are the species: Gentoo penguin, Adelie, Emperor, King, Macaroni, Southern Rockhopper, Chinstrap, Magellanic, Humboldt, African penguin, Galapagos penguin, yellow-white penguin, royal penguin, Snell's penguin, little penguin, crested penguin, white friped penguin, violet penguins. Those are the main species. Let's see the differences among them. The first one is Gentoo. First, like this. Okay. The Gentoo penguin is a penguin species in the genus Physelis. It is 30 inches in height and they are weighing about 12 pounds. On average, Gentoo penguins live to be 13 years old. The next one is Adelie penguin. The Adelie penguin is a species of penguin common along the entire coast of the Antarctic continent, which is its only habitat. It weighs about 5 kilograms, and Adelie penguins have a life expectancy of 10 to 20 years. The third one is Emperor penguin. The Emperor penguin is the tallest and heaviest of all living species and is endemic to Antarctica. It is 1 meter in height and they are weighing about 23 kilograms. On average, Emperor penguins live to be 15 to 20 years. Next is the King penguin. The King penguin is the second largest species of penguins, smaller but somewhat similar in appearance to the Emperor penguin. It is about 80 inches tall and weighs from 9 to 18 kilograms. The next species is Macaroni penguin. Macaroni, it weighs 5.5 kilograms and 70 centimeters in height, and it lives about 15 years. And the next one is Southern Rockhopper. It weighs about 2.2 kilograms and it is not much tall. Its height is 2 feet. There are about 1 million pairs in the world. Next species is chinstrap. Their height is about 75 centimeters and weighs 6 kilograms. Their lifespan is about 15 to 20 years. And the next one is Magellanic penguin. And they are medium-sized penguins, and many individuals live to be 20 years old. And next is the Humboldt penguin. The Humboldt penguin is a South American penguin living mainly in the north of Chile. They are also medium-sized penguins and it lives about 15 to 20 years. The next species is African penguin. The African penguin, also known as Cape penguin or South African penguin, is a species of penguin confined to southern African waters and it lives about 20 years. And next is the Galapagos. It is 50 centimeters in height and weighs about 3 kilograms. Their lifespan is 15 to 20 years. Next species is yellow-eyed penguin. The yellow-eyed penguin is a species of penguin endemic to New Zealand. It stands about 675 in tall and weighs 3 to 8 kilograms. And the next one is royal penguin. Royals looks very much like Macanese penguins. Mainly they are 65 to 75 centimeters tall and weigh about 3 to 8 kilograms. Next, Snellus penguin. The Snellus penguin is a penguin from New Zealand. They are tall about 50 to 70 centimeters and weighing about 2 to 4 kilograms. Next is little penguin. The little penguin is the smallest species of penguin. It grows an average of 33 centimeters in height and usually weighs about 1.5 kilograms and on average mildly. The next species is crested penguin. This species is a medium-sized one mildly. Crested penguins are endemic to New Zealand and on average crested penguins live to be 15 years. Next one is white flipper. It gains its name from the white markings on its flippers. It only grows to 30 centimeters and weighs 1.5 kilograms. They usually live for 8 years. Last one is Fiolan penguin. This species is growing to 60 centimeters tall and weighs 2 kilograms. The Fiolan penguin species also endemic to New Zealand. That's it.
Mali, next we will be talking about reproduction. Himsara next. So yeah, after the penguins have lived around 3 months, they are ready to reproduce. Or reproduction in penguins is sexual. In March, emperor penguins must walk for 70 miles to reach the breeding land. The whole purpose of this journey is to find a mate. Penguins are monogamous, meaning they mate with one partner per year. The ratio of females to males is 3 to 2, which creates a competition between the females in finding a mate. After a female finds a mate, the female lays an egg after 8 short months. The egg is kept in a pouch by her feet to keep it warm since the temperature drops in May. Since the females lose a third of their body weight, they must return to sea 70 miles away to find food for themselves and their young. The egg is transferred to the male's pouch and kept there for 3 months while the female finds food. The temperature in Antarctica drops to minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and males continue to function without food for 125 days. For 3 months, the male waits patiently with the egg, keeping it warm. To keep the egg warm, the male huddles together into tight formations consisting of hundreds or even thousands of penguins. Finally, the egg hatches. In August, the female makes a distinct noise to locate the male and chick. Since there are thousands of penguins in the area, the chick is then fed, and now is the father's turn to return back to sea to capture food they have lost, half of their body weight, and must walk 70 miles to return to the sea. Himsara next. When September arrives, which is when the ice starts to melt on the continent, this causes the length between the sea and the breeding ground to condense down to 100 yards. This signals the time when the family parts to go their separate ways. When the chicks are around 150 days old, they are ready to live on their own. The mother and the father will never see the chick again. The cycle begins again when the emperor penguins head back to the sea for 3 months to live and feed. The chicks live at sea for 4 years, climb out of the water, and march to the breeding ground when it becomes cold again. Mali, below you can see how the penguin is keeping the egg warm.
Yeah. So our fifth topic is physical characteristics. So this is a very interesting topic. So you can learn what are the body parts and how they function, all of these. So Actually, their body is not complex. It is very simple. So we can learn it very easily. So mainly there are 10 main body parts in their body. I'll explain each of it. Before that, can you see the body shape of the penguin? It's streamlined and fusiform. So this streamlined and fusiform body will helps them to swim in the water. Yeah, and so I'll explain from the eye. Yeah. So as I explained earlier, penguins are semi-aquatic animals. So they can spend some part of their lives in the terrestrial environment as well as in the water. So their eyes are well adapted to see both above and the below the water. And their eye color may get changed or differ from one another. So according to the species or the type, their eye color get changed. So most common colors are brown, reddish brown, and golden brown. And next we'll move to bill or beak. So now that is also like that. According to the species or the type, the shape of the bill or the beak can be changed. So they use this bill mainly to capture food as well as to be protected from predators. So they capture food such as fish, squid, crustaceans using their bill. And they are webbed feet. So penguins' legs are short and strong. The claws are present in their legs. So Bali, can you see the location of their legs? It's located far back from their body. So this is due to three reasons. One is to maintain their streamlined position, to stand vertically and walk upright. These are the three main reasons why the legs of penguins are located far back from their body. And it is also very helpful in swimming. And yeah, that's it. And can you, yeah. So Mali, can you see the colors? So mainly there are two colors. One is black and other one is white. So the pattern of coloration is called outer shading and serves to camouflage. So these two colors blend together. It's known as counter shading. So it is very important for camouflage. Since penguins spend most of their time in the ocean, the coloration or the camouflage is an effective form of protection. And the camouflage is also help the penguins to hunt with more success. So this camouflage condition is very important for them to hunt with a more success as well as to be protected from predators in the water. And let's move to belly. So it is a thick layer of fat. It is also known as blubber, which provides insulation against cold water. So penguins are warm-blooded animals. That means they maintain a constant amount of temperature in their body during any environmental condition. So to maintain that temperature, they use their belly or blubber. Yeah, that's it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do penguins have gills or do they have lungs?
They have lungs.
Thank you.
Finally, let's know about diet and eating habits of penguins. Let's take this topic first, that food preferences and resources. Only penguins are carnivores. Only penguins eat krill. Krill means only it's a shrimp-like crustacean in the family Euophaceae. And krill and squids and fishes. The various species of penguins have slightly different food preferences, which reduce competition among species. Like the smaller penguin species of Antarctic and the subantarctic primarily feed on krill and squid smelt. The species found farther north tend to eat fishes mainly, and Adelie penguins feed primarily on small krill while chinstrap forage for large krill mainly. Next slide. Let's see how they collect their food mainly. Penguins feed at sea. Most feeding occurs within 15.3 to 18.3 meters of the surface. The location of prey can vary seasonally and even daily. Penguins primarily rely on their vision while hunting. It is not known how penguins locate prey in the darkness at night or at great depths. Some scientists say that penguins are helped by the bioluminescence capabilities of oceanic squids, crustaceans, and fishes. The penguins catch prey with their bills and swallow it whole while swimming. A penguin has a spiny tongue and powerful jaws to grip slippery prey. And there is a special habit of stone swallowing of penguins. One emperor was found to have 4.5 kilograms of stones in its stomach contents. Stones have also been found in the stomach contents of Adelie, African Gentoo, Magellanic, and yellow-eyed penguins. Whether these stones are ingested by accident or not is unknown. Is the cases, however, king, rockhopper, and macaroni penguins have been clearly observed swallowing stone on purpose. That means that's Adelie and African. They are eating stones without purpose. But king, rockhopper, they have a purpose to eat stones. You will understand that. Next one. Sometimes in great numbers. It's theorized that stones are swallowed to reduce buoyancy while diving or to alleviate the sensation of hunger. It's also believed that rockhopper and macaroni chicks swallow stones to aid in the digestion of tough exoskeletons of the crustaceans that play and next. And mainly penguins do fasting too. And penguins go through annual fasting periods. Prior to fasting, penguins build up fat layer which provides energy, and penguins fast for prolonged periods during breeding seasons. They do not leave nesting areas to feed. Some penguins fast throughout the entire courtship, nesting, and incubation periods. Penguins also fast during annual molting periods. The temporary reduction in insulation and waterproofing caused by the loss of feathers during a molt prohibits penguins from entering the water to feed, and their fat layer provides energy until the molt is over. Chicks fast near the time they are ready to shed juvenile feathers for adult plumage. Usually by this time, the parents no longer are feeding the chick. Growth stops during this fasting period, but reasons once the mold is complete. Okay, and that's it about diet and eating habits.
Yeah, so Mali, next we'll be talking about longevity and causes for death. The average expectancy of penguins is probably around 15 to 20 years. Some individuals live considerably longer. So, winter starvation and extreme weather conditions also contribute to deaths of penguins. Old age is obviously the major cause of death. Penguins live in some of the most uh, inhospitable weather conditions, and it is not uncommon for some of them to die due to harsh weather, predators, or starvation. When in water, penguins may be eaten by leopard seals, fur seals, sea lions, sharks, or killer whales. Mostly, the bigger predator is killer whales and sea lions. Penguins are highly susceptible to infectious diseases. Uh, bases that on a survey by a team of penguin diseases in captivity, reaching as far back as 1947, it found reports of Salmonella, E. coli, West Nile virus, and avian pox virus infections, among others. Those are some of the diseases that penguins get. Yeah, Himsara. 10 out of 18 penguin species are in danger of going extinct. Some of the penguins, some of the most vulnerable penguins are Humboldt, Magellanic, and yellow-eyed and little penguins. The top 5 reasons for penguin extinction are overfishing, plastic pollution, industrial development, invasive predators, and climate change. Mali, there are a few ways that you can help to preserve penguins. Only eat seafood that comes from well-managed, suitable fisheries. Cut back on how much plastic you buy. Reduce your carbon emissions. Yeah. Next slide.
So our 8th topic is sensors. Sense is a biological system used by an organism for sensation. The process of gathering information about the world and responding to stimuli is the main function of the sensory system, sensory organ, sorry. So even humans are also use their sensory organs to gather information about the world, and we respond according to it, right? So penguins are also use their sensory organs to gather information as well as to respond to those information. So humans mainly have 5 main sensory organs. So likewise, penguins are also have 5 main sensory organs. So tongue, ears, eyes, nose, skin are the main 5 sensory organs. So from the tongue, we sense taste. From the nose, we sense smell. Like from the skin, we sense touch. Likewise, we sense different sensations in different sensory organs. So penguins also use their sensory organs to live and to be protected from predators. They use their sensory organs. Okay, these are the 5 main sensory organs and their sensations. So from the skin, you feel touch. From the ear, hearing, and from eyes, sight, nose, smell, and from the skin, you sense touch. From the tongue, the taste is sense. Likewise, so the particular sensation is there for the particular sensory organ. Yeah, so the first one is hearing. Hearing of penguins are very good. Baby penguins use their hearing to remember who their parents are. They have internal ears and located at the same place as humans. So they have internal ears because to maintain their streamlined position. So if there's an external ear, the streamline position will be not there. So in order to maintain it, they have internal ears at the same place as humans. Also, when finding partner, they base it off with their sound. So to remember their parents, to find a partner, you need this hearing ability. And hearing of penguins has not well discovered yet, but approximately, this is an approximate value, the hearing range of penguins are 100 hertz to 15,000 hertz. This is an approximate value. So the hearing of penguins has not been discovered yet, but this is an approximate value. Hearing also helps in finding food and to be protected from predators. Yeah, eyesight. So a penguin's eyesight are adapted to see clearly both in the water, air and underwater. So as I explained earlier, penguins are semi-aquatic animals. So they spend some part of their lives in the terrestrial environment and other in the water. So their eyes are well adapted to see both above and below the water. Penguins have binocular vision. So this binocular vision means they can see the depth. So it is very important for them to find food. It is very easy to find food using this binocular vision. Penguins have color vision. So they have a color vision. It's not a black and white. It's a color vision, and they're sensitive to violet, blue, and green. So they are sensitive to those colors, violet, blue, green. Some species are sensitive to ultraviolet light as well. So humans are not sensitive to ultraviolet lights, but some penguin species are sensitive to ultraviolet light as well. So penguins also have night vision. So this night vision is very important for them to be protected from predators. So at night, they have night vision. Taste. The sense of taste in penguins have not been extensively studied yet. But in general, the sense of taste is poorly developed in birds. So in general, the sense of taste is poorly developed in birds. So they can eat whatever they have without any complaint because they don't sense taste much. Touch. Penguins also does not use their sense of touch much as humans, but they can feel cold and warm very sensitively. Since penguins are warm-blooded animals, so warm-blooded means they maintain a constant amount of temperature in their body during any environmental condition. So since penguins are warm-blooded animals, there are some adaptations in their body to keep them warm in the cold temperature. So there are some adaptations in their body to keep them warm in a cold environment. So in their skin, there's a thick layer of fat, which is known as blubber, to keep them or insulate their body. And fifth one is smell. So penguins doesn't smell much, but some species use this technique in finding food and protect from predators and to find their babies. So they use the smell, this technique to find food, to protect from predators and to find their babies.
Now let's see how do they behave, Malli. Their behavior is twofold, the social and individual. Let's take the social behavior first, Malli. Penguins are among the most social of all birds. All species are colonial. Penguins may swim and feed in groups, but some may be solitary when diving for food. Emperor penguins have been observed feeding in groups with coordinated diving. During the breeding season, penguins come ashore and nest in huge colonies called rookeries. Some rookeries include hundreds of thousands of penguins and cover hundreds of square kilometers. And Malli, let's move to individual behavior. In individual behavior, we can see navigation and preening. And navigation, studies of Adelie penguins indicate that they use the sun to navigate from land to sea. They adjust for the sun's changing position in the sky throughout the day. And preening, penguins preen their feathers frequently. Feathers must be maintained in prime condition to ensure waterproofing and insulation. Penguins preen with their base muscle. A gland near the base of the tail secretes oil that the penguin distributes throughout its feathers. If penguins preen for several minutes in the water by rubbing the bodies with their flippers while twisting and turning. That's it about behavior. And shall move on.
Yeah, so Malli, next we'll be talking about the ways we can protect penguins. Seafood watch list. Being a responsible consumer is critical. Read watch list to ensure the seafood you eat is caught or raised sustainably. Through management of fisheries, marine protected areas, and community participation, fish pollutions and ecosystems can rebound. Preventing further damage to marine environments will have a positive impact on the health of penguin colonies dependent on these habitats. Oil spills. This form of pollution is lethal to marine environments, including those of penguins. Yeah, Mani?
Yeah, global warming is one of the biggest threat to the penguins, right?
Yeah, because due to global warming, ice melts, so it's hard for them to survive because of the temperature. Yeah, thank you, Mali, for that. And yeah, oil spills we were talking about. Make sure human activities do not contribute to the problem. Check fuel and oil lines on vehicles and homes for good condition. And do not dump old oil products into drains. Accidental spills of any pollutants remain in ecosystems have been shown to accumulate. Yeah, Mali, back to carbon footprint. It helps reduce carbon emissions to slow climate change. Dynamic changes produce rapid alternations in marine environments and within the food chains that are involved. Take action to help penguins survive by making simple changes like turning off lights when not in use or when you leave the room or using LED light bulbs. Supportive construction work. Organizations like Organizations like WCS are continually working to conserve biodiversity and concentrations of marine wildlife. Establishing marine protected areas is important to preserve regions that penguins depend on for their survival. Himsara, next slide.
Yeah, so our 11th topic is adaptations. So even in human body, there are a lot of adaptations, right? So in science, these adaptations are known as homeostasis. So there are three main functions of homeostasis. One is the fluid balance, other one is to regulate the body temperature and to maintain a constant blood sugar level. So likewise in penguins also, there are a lot of adaptations to swim fast, to dive deep, and to regulate their body temperature. So let's go. How penguins adapted so they can swim fast. So how penguins are adapted to swim fast. So this is due to three reasons. One is penguins have webbed feet for powerful swimming. Their bodies are streamlined to reduce drag in water. Their wings, shaped like flippers, also help them to fly underwater at speed up to 15 meters per hour. So there are three adaptations in penguins' body to swim fast. One is webbed feet, other one is streamlined position, and the third one is their wings shaped like flipper. So these are the three main adaptations in penguins' body to swim fast. And how penguins dive deep. So they dive deep due to most birds have hollow bones. So it's empty, but making them lighter for flying. Penguins, however, have solid bones, making them heavier and make it easier to dive underwater for food. So penguin is a flightless bird, right? So their bones are not hollow, it's heavy. So they can dive deep under the water for their food. This is an adaptation which is present in their body to dive deep. And next one is how penguins keep warm. Penguins have to keep high body temperature to remain active. They have thick skin and lot of fat, which is known as blubber, under their skin to keep warm in cold weather. So first adaptation in their body to keep them warm is the thick layer of fat, which is known as blubber. And they also huddle together with their friends to keep warm. Emperor penguins have developed a social behavior that when it gets cold, they huddle together in groups that may comprise several thousand penguins. So the second adaptation in their body to keep them warm is huddle together. And the third one is so mainly penguins have two colors, right? The white and black. So black color has the ability to absorb heat from the sun. So they use this one to keep them warm. So dark colored feathers of the penguins, black surface absorb heat from the sun, so helps them to warm up too. So there are three adaptations in their body to keep them warm. One is the thick layer of fat. The second one is they huddle together, and the third one is the black color surface which absorb heat from the sun. And so this is a small picture. The white color helps in camouflage in a white background. A thick layer of fat under skin provides warmth. The webbed feet which helps in swimming, and finally forelimbs modified into flippers help in swimming. So these are some adaptations in their body to swim fast, to dive deep and regulate their body temperature. Okay. Mali, this is a small video how they adapted to the environment.
A lot of polar animals have a layer of blubber under their skin, right?
Yeah. Most of the animals who live in the cold environment, they have the thick layer of fat.
I am Morgan Freeman, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the penguin. The penguin is especially adapted to living in both hot and cold environments, depending on its species. From a very early age, penguins adapt to have a fluffy, well-insulated layer of feathers to survive the first few months of their life and the harsh Antarctic breeze. Solitary penguins wouldn't survive long, as the cold would slowly freeze them to death. So to avoid this, they create vast huddles to stay warm. In these vast huddles, there is a vast amount of penguins. So each baby penguin has a unique call which both parents can hear from a very long way away. Penguins mate for life. They choose a partner when they are at a sexually mature age and mate every year, only missing a few, and do this until they die. They do this to pass on as many genes as possible so that the cycle continue once again.
Only let's see how they communicate. Only they communicate in two ways. One is vocalization and the other one is displays. And what do you mean about vocalization? It's like this. Only penguin calls are individually identifiable, allowing mates to recognize each other and also their chick. This is important because members of a large colony of penguins are nearly alike by sight. Normally, there are three main kinds of penguin calls. One is contact call, the other one is display call, and the last one is threat. Normally, contact call helps them to recognize colony members, and the contact call of emperor and king penguins can be heard 1 kilometer away. Only display call is the most complex of the three, and it helps to convey information on territorial, sexual, and individual recognition. Malay threat call is the simplest and is used to defend a territory and warn other colony members of predators. And the second way of communication is displays. Shall we move? Normally, penguins communicate by vocalizing and performing physical behaviors called displays. They use many vocal and visual displays to communicate nesting territories, mating information, nest relief rituals, partner and chick recognition, and defense against intruders. Well, that's all about communication.